I'm Michael O'Leary and I watch All About Sport on Cavan TV. So should you.
Hello, good evening and welcome to All About Sport, coming to you from the Cavan Crystal Studios here in Cavan Town. I'm Louise O'Reilly. Joining me on tonight's show is Martin Shannon, correspondent for the Anglo-Celt, who will be talking to me about the Monaghan Cavan League, all coming up later. But first up, I am joined by Peter McDwyer, Susan McVitie, who is delighted to tell us all about the recently opened Handball Alley in Ballyconnell. So, Peter and Susan, you're very welcome to the show. Thank you very much for joining us on All About Sport. So a great moment for Ballyconnell to finally, after 25 years, hoping to get this opened, you finally got the Handball Alley open. Susan, tell us a bit about how you got the ball rolling on that.
Well, we got the ball rolling. We have two young fellas from Ballyconnell, Kildallan area, who play handball, and they had to go to Kingscourt to train, which was over 50 miles away. So there was a handball alley indoor in Ballyconnell in the community centre when it was originally built, and it never was developed. And
that was back in 1990. We were just saying that the community centre was built with this handball alley, yes, but it was just had never been used.
Never been used. So when the young lads in the area started taking up handball and had to go to train so far away, we decided we'd develop it.
Brilliant.
So we went look for funding, which we got funding from the Department of Transport, Tourism and Sport.
Okay, so not an easy thing, you know, to be asking for funding at these times, but you got the funding, most importantly.
And then we needed some more funding to finish it off. We didn't look for enough in the beginning, so our parish priest, that one was Father Raymond Lynch, he gave us some parish funding to finish it off, which was great to get it all finished, and now we have it officially opened and up and running.
Which is great. And Peter, I know you're obviously very passionate about handball yourself, but tell us a little bit of your background and your interest in the sport.
Well, first I was introduced to handball in St. Pat's. I remember the first time I saw a handball alley and I asked, what is that? And from that moment on I fell in love with handball, and I've always liked playing handball, and it's my mission now to share this passion with the kids and youth of Ballyconnell, and that's really what we've started to do.
Which is great, because as you said, up until now, most young people didn't get an opportunity in the area to play handball until maybe went to St. Pat's, where there is handball alleys, and it's very much promoted in the school. So tell us a little bit more about the handball alley itself. It's an indoor handball alley.
Yes, it's 40 by 20. There's different sizes really, 40 by 20 or 60 by 30, which is much bigger. But the one in Ballyconnell is 40 by 20. Mm-hmm. It's perfect for winter nights. It's lit up with lights, and it's perfect for to get kids out of the house and away from computer games, and it's great for fitness. It's fantastic for fitness and hand-eye coordination, you know, and it's good.
Yeah, great. So you were saying most importantly, and I've noticed a lot of people on Facebook since you kind of put up the poster, like even some of the older guys and around Ballyconnell who've getting on to saying, I want to have a game, I want to get back and do it. So it's kind of creating a bit of excitement for everybody again, I suppose, to kind of get back into the alleys again.
What we've actually started is on Tuesday nights we have under 14s. So last year we had 5 boys, and I better mention their names: Trevor, Jesse, Ryan, Dylan and Owen. So this year we have 15.
Okay, so it's really growing already.
So it was very quickly, it has shown there's interest in it. Now, boys, girls, it doesn't matter. On Tuesday nights we're going under 14. What's great is it's not just Irish kids that are playing it, so we really welcome that. And then on Thursday nights then we've over 14, so already there's a few there. We had 6 boys I think last Thursday night, so I'm sure with a bit of publicity that numbers will grow as well.
Great. I'll just give us a little rundown of the kind of classes. So are you helping out with the
Yeah, but basically, I when I was playing handball, I was trained as a handballer, and so I'm going to try and pass on my little skills. So it does help the performance of a handballer if they're trained, taught how to hit the ball correctly and where to hit it, rather than just hitting it and hoping for the best. There is a method behind the game, and it's a clever game. If you play intelligently, you do less running.
Yeah. Right, okay, so not as much movement. It's probably one of the Gaelic games that's probably not least promoted, but you know, it's just not as accessible as a result of less handball alleys.
The great living legend Paul Brady, when he was a small boy, he started St. Pat's, he was in a group of 10 boys I was 17 years of age, to teach them what I was taught. And Paul was a very small boy, and now he's the most famous and most renowned handballer ever to play. So the kids are the future, and you never know who you have in your midst. So we have 15 kids on a Tuesday night now, and you never know what we could get out of them. You know.
So then on a Tuesday night, they can all, I suppose you're able to teach them the skills, and then have little games against each other. So it's obviously pairs
really what we're doing is just starting off to start to judge the ball. We get them to throw the ball, not just hitting the ball, to throw the ball, bounce the ball, so that their hand can follow the ball and their hand-eye can follow the ball. And yesterday, actually on Tuesday, we had them all in groups of 2, and they all were hitting the ball for an hour, so it's good exercise.
Which is great. And this time of year in particular, when
weather,
football's kind of finished and they can't get out training or running around, it's an ideal sport to get involved in. And Susan, recently you had the opening of the Handball Alley, and you had the president of GAA, Ron Farrell, to open it. So a great occasion.
Yes, we had Egan down to open it. It was great, and he met up with all the children and talked to them, and it was really nice, and got their pictures taken. Yeah. It was really good.
And he's very passionate about handball, and something he always really promotes.
He played handball himself.
He
so
did,
he loved the game.
Yeah, so he was, he'd be delighted to see more and more. And Handball Alley's opening. And so it was a great occasion. Now, there's a couple of people who wanted to thank Peter, so if you want to give them a mention.
Well, who all? Susan especially.
Well, I'd like to thank Bernard McManus and Liam Shorten. They'll be involved with, they have young lads playing, and it's great to have the parents that will help out, and they'll help Peter McDwyer, hopefully. I think Bernard takes a class, does he, on a Tuesday night?
No,
on a Thursday night.
And Paddy Degnan and Anne helped me out, and Dahi Neary was there on Tuesday night, so it is good. I wouldn't be able to do it on my own on a Tuesday night without help from some of the parents, so all help greatly accepted.
Which is great. Susan, do you have a go at it yourself?
No, not yet.
No,
but I may.
But never say never. And what about any of the adults who'd like to go, say, to want a game, or who already know the ropes?
Anybody that wants to play, they can get in contact with me or get in contact with Brian Wynn. He's the caretaker. I'd like to thank Brian as well for his help. He's the caretaker there in Ballyconnell Community Centre, and the more the merrier. So let's get using. The worst thing that could happen at this stage is that the alley isn't used. So let's get the kids have started to play it. When you see a kid smiling from the enjoyment of the sport, that's what does it for me. You know, they really do enjoy it.
As you said, you've lobbied for years and years, so you're really kind of
25 years we've waited for
leading the
this.
way for
years,
all the other clubs around the county and of course around the country who have probably lots of, you see lots of the outdoor alleys are just, growing over and not being used. So it'd be great to see them all reopening again.
Milltown School have promoted it for years. They built an outdoor alley, so I'm sure they would be keen to use our alley as well, and they're just over the road, Yeah,
and just to mention the couple of guys you mentioned, Cahill Sheridan and Cian
McManus.
Yeah, and they're quite promising young handballers up and coming. So they could be really hot on the heels of Paul Brady.
Well,
we're hoping.
It's there for the taking. It's there for the taking.
Absolutely. Well, Paul hasn't hung up his his days, of handball, so we'll have to wait and watch that space. But look, thank you so much for joining us on All About Sport. It's great to hear of something great new initiative in the area and getting it up and running again. So Peter and Susan, thank you very much for joining us on All About Sport.
Thank you, Louise.
Thank you. So we're going to take a short break, but I'll be right back in a few minutes, so don't go anywhere.
Cavan Crystal Hotel provides 4-star accommodation on the edge of Cavan town. Located conveniently on the Dublin Road, just 60 minutes away from Dublin. With 85 beautifully appointed bedrooms and a number of luxurious suites. We offer wedding packages. With our one wedding a day policy, we guarantee to make yours a special day. Enjoy a meal at our award-winning Opus One restaurant, or have a drink in the atrium or residence bars. Feeling energetic, you can work out in Zest Health and Fitness Club, or maybe pamper yourself and visit Utopia Health and Beauty Clinic or Avita's Hair Salon, both located on site. Situated only 5 minutes from Cavan Town Centre and local amenities. Cavan Crystal Hotel, gateway to Ireland's Lakelands.
And you're very welcome back to the show. I'm delighted to be joined by broadcaster and soccer correspondent for the Anglo-Celt, Martin Shannon. Martin, thank you very much for joining us on All About
Louise.
Sport. It's lovely to meet you. You're here to tell us all about the Monaghan Cavan League. This is your baby, your speciality.
It is in a way. Basically, what has happened here in the Monaghan Cavan League in recent times is that 2 clubs have qualified for the All-Ireland competition, the Irish Junior Cup. And that's brilliant because one team is from Cavan and one team is from Monaghan, and it is called the Monaghan Cavan League. Mm-hmm. And the team from Cavan is Cavan Rovers. They're only 2 years old. They were only formed in 2013. They entered the league that year in the reserve division, didn't come anywhere in that really. The following year, which was last year, they went and they won the reserve cup, the Sean Woods Cup, and they also qualified into the Premier Division.
Right, okay,
and this year, they've actually gone further than most teams have gone from this region in many, many years.
Yeah, so that's remarkable achievement. Yeah. Only, like as you said, since 2013, so very, very early days for this team. Yeah. But so you said they're through to the quarterfinals of the Irish Junior Cup themselves and
Clonus Town, who are the oldest team in Ireland.
So the newest and the oldest.
And the oldest. They're the oldest team in Ireland. They were formed in 1876. They couldn't enter any leagues then, so they played friendlies up until 1885, when they then became leagues in this area. And the first leagues they entered was the South Armagh leagues. They then went into the Fermanagh leagues, then went into the Donegal leagues, and then after 1923, when the FAI came into existence, then they joined forces down here, and along with teams from Cavan and Monaghan, they got together and formed this league. And this league really came into its own right, as opposed to being linked to other leagues like the Leitrim League and the North East League. It came into its own right only about the late 1960s or 70s. Okay. So it's the oldest and the youngest. They're both from this region. They both deserve all our support, and it's great to see it. You know, it's marvellous.
That's great. And you were going to give us a rundown of the current league at the moment and teams that they're up against for, as you said, it's an All Ireland of for these really teams. Yeah,
it is really an All Ireland. Well, Clonus so far in the competition, we start with Clonus. They started and they had a home draw against a team from Donegal called Curra Athletic. Now the way this works is it's regional first, it's provincial first. Mm-hmm. So basically what you have is you have 3 leagues in Ulster. The Donegal League, which is North Donegal. Then you have the Inishowen League, which takes in South Donegal. And then you have the Monaghan Cavan League. And they all play, or teams who wish to enter this from those, they play in this competition on a regional provincial basis. Okay. So Clonus's first opposition at home in early September were Curra Athletic, a Division 2 side from Donegal who weren't really up to Clonus's standard, and Clonus beat them 2-0. They then played a team called Kildrum Tigers from Lifford in County Donegal and had to travel to that, and it was 4-4 at full time. And then they won 3-1 when it went to penalties after extra time. They then got another away draw, and they played a team called Deal Harps, who were from even further away in Donegal. And in the 92nd minute of that game, they actually scored the goal that won that for them. So they're through, but they will now be playing a team called Knocknaheeny from Cork City.
Okay, so way the other end of the country.
Way the other end of the country. So a major task for them too, because Knocknaheeny, they're a relatively new side. They were formed in 1981, right, and entered the senior leagues in 1993. But they did win their cup, the President's Cup, in 2012, which is remarkable since there are something like 140 odd teams that can enter that cup. So, I mean, Cork is a huge county, and
they have a lot of pick and choice.
It's a great achievement to get that far, and they have done very, very well to get this far in the competition, and will be a major, major problem for Clonus, I think, you know.
Yeah.
Cavan Rovers, on the other hand, they had a bye in the first round, and then they played Donegal Town. Donegal Town are an ancient team, you know. They go way, way back into the early 1900s, and they're a long, long time about with a lot of experience. And they actually got a home draw against Donegal Town, so the Donegal team travelled to the Astro Park here in Cavan.
And that's where they played their games.
That's where Cavan Rovers play the games. And it was 4-4 after extra time, and then it went to penalties. And this is the remarkable thing, Louise, which I have never seen before, and I've been watching soccer for, well, a long, long time. And it actually went to penalties, and it went to a final score of 16-15 after penalties. So there was 16 penalties for Cavan Rovers and 15 penalties. So 31 penalties were taken that day in order to decide that game. It was remarkable.
Right, so you've never seen anything like that before. I don't think I've ever heard of anything like that happening before.
Well, to be honest, neither have I.
Yeah.
Then the next round, they played a team again from Donegal called Ballyconnell. And Ballyconnell are a very, very talented outfit. It was 3-3, and again it went to penalties. And Cavan Rovers came victorious in that 6-5. And then the following match was recently there against Arranmore, the Islanders from Arranmore Island.
Okay, so they're the team too.
They came, very good outfit. But Cavan Rovers put out the best team they've put out this season. Even if they had Mickey Brennan on it as well, but we'll send.
That's news to my ears. You kept that one quiet.
He did. He actually, and he scored a great goal.
He's left Drummolee now to go to the Cavan Rovers.
Indeed.
Exclusive.
He scored a great goal that day too. I must say, to be honest with you.
Had him on?
They won 3-1.
Yeah.
That day, and now they're through to play another Donegal team, Rathmullen from Donegal. But if they were to qualify out of this surely would be the end of the meeting at any kind of Ulster side, and they would really be up against the big sides from Limerick, Cork, you know, and Dublin obviously would have a huge impact into the last 64.
So it'd be a lot more difficult kind of groupings to be getting into then after that.
Very, very much so. You're talking about senior sides. You're talking about teams who play in leagues with 60 teams in them. Yeah. You know.
Okay, right. So they're
and to get out of that. It's a major achievement.
So they're playing a lot of Donegal teams, is that so?
They have been so far because of the way it's structured in Ulster. As I said, you have the Donegal League, the Inishowen League, and the Monaghan Cavan League. So those three leagues then combine into this competition, and teams from them who wish to enter, and they then play each other mostly all the time, because you could have 40 teams from Donegal who enter the competition. You might only have 4 or 5 from Cavan Monaghan, you know.
Yeah, so exactly. So it's, as you said, it's this time of year where, you know, it is the season for the soccer leagues, and so these are all coming up.
Yeah, 6th of December. The next competition is coming up on the 6th of December. And just to give you an idea or a flavour of something, if you could bear with me for a moment, Rathmullen Celtic, the team that Cavan Rovers will be playing, they were only founded in 1974, which is virtually new in soccer terms. They changed their name in 1991 and were founded as Rathmullen Youth originally. But they're known as the Seasiders. So these guys are way up in the north coast of Donegal, and they're coming down to Cavan here to an Astro Park. Now, from what I understand, they actually play on grass. So there could be an advantage there for Cavan Rovers. You know,
and it's okay for them to play in Astro Park or grass, so it's, there's no kind of
there's no problem either way. It just depends what happens. They're currently the Donegal League leaders, though, and that will make it extremely hard for Cavan Rovers.
That'd be a good game probably to go to see as well.
A good game for Cavan TV to come up and cover, you know, indeed. Rathmullen won 5-4 in penalties against Gweedore. in the last round. Gweedore had Oran McNeilis, who played for Donegal.
Okay.
And was a big hero for Donegal in a lot of ways in their last few campaigns. They have 4 players on the Oscar Trainer team. Now, the Oscar Trainer competition is whereby
What is that?
whereby the Monaghan Cavan League play the Donegal League, and it's sort of an inter-county thing. Only Monaghan and Cavan are lumped together for this, and they pick their best players to play in that team against the Donegal League and the Sligo League and the Inishowen League.
Okay.
And they play, and then that goes into another inter-county type thing, All-Ireland competition.
Okay, great. So
After
just
that,
really to keep them playing.
But
keep
from
them having-
that, there is, if you're good enough, there is an opportunity from that then to get onto the Irish Junior International team,
Oh, right.
right?
So
And
Mickey Brennan, who knows?
Oh, I'm not going to get into trouble on that one. I really am not.
We can see him yet.
But those and on that Oscar Trainer team from Rathmullen, there were actually 4. Their goalkeeper Mark Gallagher, Owen Sheridan, Ryan Gildee, and Ryan Conley. They were all on that. These are the type of quality of players Rovers will be up against. Right. And to be honest with you, the Rovers would be the underdogs in this.
Okay.
You know, so
who
good luck
knows?
to them.
Yeah, good luck to them is right. Yeah, so that'll be that, and that's coming up. So we
that's
know,
coming up 6th of December. It's in Cavan Astor Park.
and everybody's welcome.
Everybody is welcome, and the more the merrier to cheer on the local sides. The 6th of December in Clonus is the match between the Cork side, Knocknaheeny, and Clonus. And I'm sure there'll be plenty of Clonus support over there.
They'd have a great support.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Oh, they do have a big support.
So how is the support for the Cavan Rovers? Is it just growing at the
Cavan
moment?
Rovers is growing. I mean, it's 2-year-old.
Yeah.
This is only the 3rd season, beginning of the 3rd season. They haven't been doing particularly well in the league, but they haven't been able to get the full side out, if you follow me. And when they did get the full side out against Arranmore in the last of this competition, then they really showed what they were worth, and they were very, very good.
Yeah.
Despite Mickey Brennan.
Despite Mickey. So what is your involvement in all of this?
My involvement in all of this basically is it's a passion of mine. I've been playing soccer since I was a child. I've been playing, I packed it up years ago. But I played soccer when I was a child in Enniskillen. And then I went on to move all around the place, and there wasn't many soccer teams about the places I was living in. And then I came to live near Clonus, and I got involved with Clonus Soccer Club. But because of pressure of all sorts of pressure on my time, I've packed that up now recently. Although I still have great time for the lads in Clonus, you know.
Which is great.
And then I write for the Anglo-Celt as the soccer correspondent.
Brilliant. So I'm sure that's great as well, just so to have a voice as well. And your career, you were a BBC correspondent for many, many years. Tell us a bit about that.
Well, I did all sorts of things. I went into the Beeb firstly on a part-time basis with the Home True series on BBC. And that was Radio Ulster. It's now called Your Place and Mine, I think. That programme's still going.
Yeah.
It's on a Saturday morning. And I did what you do, talking to interesting people, except me.
You are very interesting, Martin.
And we went all around the place. We talked to people who were mummers. We talked to people on islands who lived on islands in Lough Erne. We talked to people all over the place. And I did a programme called Between the Bridges from Enniskillen for many years. And then the next thing, I got involved with researching for a programme on TV, and we did about 15 or 16 documentaries over the years. And went off from that. Then I went on to Northern Sound Radio for many years and the newsroom there, and now I'm scraping a living, you know, how it is. You know.
with the Anglo-Celt. Well, you've had an interesting career to date and still continuing to, I suppose, now sharing your love of journalism, but also with soccer as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's a case of, it's easy to talk, for me to talk about soccer because I love the sport. Yeah. It's the same as your previous correspondents who were talking to you there earlier. About the handball. Yeah. You know, Patsy loves the sport, and he was great at talking about it. I love the sport. The Cavan Monaghan League Monaghan Cavan League, whatever you want to call it. Bottom line is, it has improved immensely. It has grown in the amount of clubs. It's continuing to grow. That's great for the sport. It's great that Ireland have qualified.
Isn't it just?
Yeah,
it's been a good
fabulous.
week for soccer.
It's a great week to talk about soccer,
Yeah.
and hopefully we're going to go further next year.
Yeah, I really think we are. It's looking positive, so it is.
Indeed.
Well, Martin, I think that's it for now. That's everything. Is there anything else you wanted to mention before we round things up?
Quick look at the Cavan Monaghan Cavan Premier Division and First Division Senior tables. Monaghan Town currently leading on 13. Blaney Rovers, they've played 6 games. Blaney Rovers played 12. Glaslough Villa have played 5 and have 11 points. Ballyconnell Celtic have played 8 and have 9 points. Clonus have only played 4, and that's because of their involvement in the 2 cup competitions. There's an Ulster Cup and this Irish Junior Cup, and they're both involved in those. Cootehill Hops again, they're still involved in the Ulster Cup, which they won last year, and they have only played 5 games and have 7 points. Killylock, which is a North Monaghan team.
Oh, right, okay.
They have played 4, have 7 points. Cavan Town, not doing so well this season, but you know, Cavan Town have a long history and could well come back into the latter part of the season. 5 games played and they have 6 points. Drumkill, 5 games played and have 3 points. They're a team from sort of mid-Monaghan near 3 Mile House outside Smithborough. Okay. And then Cavan Rovers at the bottom at the moment in the Premiership with no points. But basically, as I said, it's because they haven't had that strong team that they had out against Arranmore. If they can get that team out more often, they'll get points on the board. There's no two ways about it. Killylock are winning. They have a lot of reserve teams in the First Division. Killylock are winning that at the moment. They've played 8, they've 17 points. And Cavan Town are next. Monaghan Town reserves are next. Glaslough Villa reserves are next. And then KS Eagles, a Polish team. Completely made up of Poles, so maybe you can interview them someday.
That'd be great. And they're based?
They're based in Cavan and Monaghan, between the 2 counties.
Have to get in touch with them.
And they play out of Monaghan Astro Park a lot, and sometimes Cavan Astro Park. Clonus Town reserves, again, are 7, played 7 and 10 points. Cavan Celtic, which is a senior team, but basically they had some problems last season. They've dropped down to Division 1, but they're doing extremely well again, and I could well see that they go back up into the Premiership. Blaney Rovers, brand new into the league in the last couple of years, have only 4 points on the board, played 7 games, but again, and then Killy Mooney from Cavan Town here.
Okay, so there's a good few teams from the town.
They're at the bottom. From the town, from the area. Ballyhaise is in there as well, don't forget, you know. And you also have Cootehill, and Cootehill are an extremely good outfit.
They are definitely.
So
well, that's it. Wow, well, look at theirs. We'll be keeping an eye on that division, and actually must get that other team in that you mentioned, the Polish team.
A Polish team, KS Eagles, yeah.
Something different, definitely. Well, Martin, thank you very much for taking the time to speak to us on All About Sport. Will you come back in again and see us?
Surely.
Yeah, that's great. Well, look, thank you very much. It's great speaking to you. Thank you very much to my guests tonight, Peter McDwyer, Susan McVitie and Martin Shannon. So that's it from All About Sport for this week. I'll be back again at the same time next Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. If you'd like your sport featured on the show, simply contact drumlinmedia@gmail.com. So it's goodbye from me, Louise O'Reilly.